Okay, today's topic, again inspired by ChatGPT asking the questions. The topic was actually inspired by a podcast on the Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett, his guest being Dara. I won't attempt to say his surname, but the CEO of Uber. He was talking about working hard, and the phrase that stuck in my mind was, you have to learn how to work hard. And it just got me thinking, is that something that's teachable? Is it something that's teachable in children? Is it something that you can teach later on in life to adults? And they not argued, but they discussed, and Dara believed that it was. Stephen Bartlett struggled to come up with examples of anyone that he'd worked with or for or worked in his team that didn't have that work ethic to then suddenly developing it, and he said he couldn't think of anybody. So it's an interesting debate, and I thought it would be a good topic for today. So the first question that's come up is, what does working hard actually mean? And the quote that I really like that I've found for that is, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And that really resonates, where I think, having played sport for a lot of my life to an okay level, and been through the education system as a student, but also now working or having two businesses in that sector, it's something that I see a lot and saw a lot over the years as well in sport. And working hard for me is the ability to reach your potential. So doing everything in your power, working as hard as you can to reach that potential and do all the things that you're capable of. And I always think back to one of my football managers, and he always used to say about, that's something that you can control. And Luke's phrase, my best friend that passed away, was control the controllables. And so working hard is something that anybody can control. And when we deliver into schools, I always ask my staff to have a whiteboard and have a recognition board, and on there would be things that everybody could achieve, and working hard could be one of those. It might be good teamwork or something that's achievable by all the children in the class. And so working hard, I believe, is one of those things that you can control. You might not be having the best match, and quite often I didn't, but you could always work hard. You could always track your runner. You could always run with them and try and outrun your opposite number on the football pitch. And that was something that was instilled in me by that manager, but also my dad at a younger age, where he always sort of said that your number one goal in any game is to be better than the person in the other team playing in your position. And whilst you can't necessarily control that, they might naturally be a better player and have a better game than you, you could always try and work harder than that person. So yes, that's what working hard is for me. Working hard, doing all you can to reach your potential in whatever field that might be. Question 2, can work ethic be taught, or is it forged through experience? And a good quote that goes alongside this is, grit is passion and perseverance for long-term goals. I think work ethic can be taught or can be honed and improved through experiences and through the mindset that you have. I think I'm a good example of this, without blowing smoke up my own ass, in that I was never somebody that, in some circumstances I would work hard, but it didn't necessarily come from a good place. Sometimes it came from a place of jealousy, or a place of, I just need to be better than the next guy. And it's perhaps not a healthy way that work ethic can be taught. In other situations, I perhaps was a bit lazy and maybe left assignments to the last minute and didn't work as hard as I could to be a footballer. Didn't work as hard as I could at university. Absolutely didn't. Sort of scraped through the 2-1. On the kind of flip of that, I did work really hard at school and at college to get the grades that I did. Probably could have worked harder, but happy with what I did there. And I think looking back over my working life, I played football until I was 30, semi-professionally. Then Luke passed away when I was 30, well, when we were both 30. And yeah, he passed away when I was 30. I injured my knee that same year and subsequently went all in on the business. And I was working hard at that point, but certainly I think I filled a void with that work ethic and started to listen to a lot of podcasts and audiobooks, and I think I just tried to be the best version of myself that I could be. And I think Luke's death definitely brought that out in me to reach my potential, and always had what would Luke do in those circumstances. So I think through the experiences of having a business and having various setbacks with Luke passing away, recent divorce, even things before that with the business, it kind of built that resilience and that work ethic muscle. So I do think it can be taught, but it relies on the person to want to be taught, to want to take on those things. And question 3 then, am I raising capable children or comfortable children? Wow, what a question. It's difficult with co-parenting, and I don't want to comment on the other side of the parenting relationship, but I certainly choose the path of resistance with the girls. Don't let them have their own way. Try to get them to work hard, which is so difficult at the age they're at, and I do find it hard. But Izzy wants social media at the moment. I don't want her to have it. She's 12. I don't agree with it at that age. But what I have said to her is I've given her a book to read called The Amazing Generation. And it's a children's book about social media, technology, the dangers, but also the negative impact it can have on children's social lives growing up. So I've given her that as a kind of, right, you read this, we'll then debate it and we'll see where we go with that. I still won't let her have it, but I'm trying to build that work ethic muscle, trying to make them both tidy their rooms and starting to kind of instill that work ethic and that resilience in them. So I'm trying to raise capable children, trying to instill those values that I develop later in life. So I think if I can instill those values now, it will benefit them no end as they grow up. Should children have to work for privileges? 100%. Because I think if they don't, it can lead to a sense of entitlement and an expectation that things are there. And it's difficult when I think of my dad and his parents, and similarly with my mum, but both my parents' parents came from working class backgrounds. My dad in particular didn't grow up with much, grew up on a council estate. He's a proper grafter, unbelievable person, and would do anything for anyone. He's instilled that work ethic in me, but also gave me everything that I wanted as a child. Not spoiled in terms of gifts and things, but attention, love. I never wanted for anything. He would drive me all over the place for sporting fixtures, etc., and my mum as well. And now I'm in a position where I've benefited from my mum and dad being incredible parents, and the girls are privileged. They don't want for anything. Love, experiences, we go on nice holidays. So then it's the battle of how can I make them work for things, because otherwise if everything comes too easily for them, they won't have that work ethic and that resilience. So that is really, really key for me, and I want them to work for it. I want them to appreciate the things that they have. Is hard work in conflict with balance? And this is such a key question for me in particular. When I started trying to launch my coaching business, my business coaching business, it was very much, well, build with balance is what it was called, and building a sideline, not having to sacrifice your personal life. And I still maintain that that's really important. It's so high in my values. And so I work hard. Sometimes it feels like it's not always seen because my work doesn't come in a traditional sense, that I'm not in an office 9 to 5. I do the school run. I pick the girls up from school. I will then work. I'll get my gym workouts done early in the morning. I'll start work early, and sometimes that'll bleed into the evenings and weekends, but I don't ever want it to impact on my life with the girls. So that's my balance, and I enjoy what I do. I love being a dad. It's the best job in the world. But a close second is the businesses that I have. So balance, I think you can have both. I think you can work hard, but I think you can still have balance and live an incredible life and have that balance. There are trade-offs. So the CEO of Uber, for instance, he's working more hours than I am, but his trade-off is that he would see less of his family than I do, and because I see the girls 50% of the time, I have to maximize my time with them, and that will never change. But I think depending on, I want a lifestyle business. I want a business or businesses that I can run and have managers in place so that I have freedom with where I work, when I work, how I work, working hard, because I love that. I love, I can't not be busy. That's my balance. And it's not the same for everybody. If you want to be a CEO of this incredible company or start a business which is turning over hundreds of millions, then there are trade-offs to be made along the way, and that might be a different balance for that person, and that person might love that balance, and they might have to sacrifice family time, home time, relationships, etc. But you kind of do you. And then finally, what am I modeling? Or I think that's the question from ChatGPT. What am I modeling? I think I've touched on it already. I think I'm trying to model a healthy work ethic, a work ethic that gets shit done, that creates businesses that have big impacts, but lifestyle businesses where I love being a dad, as I've said, and I love to travel. So combining those two things is my number one. Like, that's what I want to do with my money and the benefits of the businesses. And so I want to model those things, that work ethic. I want the girls to have that resilience as well, which I talk about a lot, but also the fun side of things where I don't see the point. And maybe that's because I've lost my best friend, but what's the point in all of that? What's the point of being the richest man in the graveyard? I think being rich in experiences and moments is where it's at, and using hopefully the wealth that I'm accumulating to go on more ski trips, to show the girls the world, but whilst instilling those key values in them. Thank you for listening.